Hi everyone, my name is Ram and welcome to Sprint Master. Today we are going to discuss about what to expect in a coding interview at tech company. You might already know that big tech companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, they pay really high salaries when it comes to technical jobs. But have you ever wondered what it takes to get jobs at these companies? Well, if you have been to these interviews before, you might already know the process that they have multiple rounds of coding interviews. Today I will walk you through this interview process, and at the end of this video I'll share some of the resources which I know are best for these kind of interviews. So without wasting any minute, let's get into business. Every year thousands of people apply for positions at these companies, yet only a fraction of them get an offer. According to this post from previous Amazon recruiter on Quora, it is usually 1 in 5 chances to get an interview from the resume screening stage, 1 in 2 chances to go from the first interview to the onsite, and 1 in 5 chances to get an offer from the actual onsite interview. That means for every offer Amazon makes, it takes around 50 applications to begin with. It is not just Amazon. Any other tech giants in the industry are having the same or similar ratio when it comes to these technical jobs. Now let's try to understand what a typical interview process looks like. A typical interview process with these tech giants can be categorized into 5 stages. Stage 1. A call or an email from a recruiter. Whether you applied for the job position or the recruiter directly reaches out to you by looking at your LinkedIn profile or by getting any referral from one of their colleagues, either ways, this is more like an open conversation and not at all a technical conversation. The recruiter is trying to understand whether you are in the job market and if you are interested in considering a position with their company, and they also try to gather information on what your current role and responsibilities in your current company. Once they gather all of this information, they will take you to the next step. Stage 2. Online assessment. Online assessment is a coding test that a candidate can take at their convenience, typically within a week's time frame. Once you start the test, you have to complete it, otherwise the timer runs out. Usually these kind of tests consist of 2 questions and may last about an hour. Usually these questions are well defined with a clear problem statement and a specified input and output requirements. All you have to do is implement the function by satisfying the given criteria within that specified time limit. Once you complete the online assessment test, the recruiter will typically reach out to you within a week. If the results are satisfactory, you will be moved on to the next step. Stage 3. Phone screening. Phone screening is the most common interview practices for many companies. It is usually taken by the engineers of the team and they last for about 45 minutes. Prior to the phone interview, you can expect a link for some kind of a collaboration tool through which the interviewer can look at the code while you write. These collaboration tools typically don't have any code formatting options, so be prepared to write code with good syntax. During the interview, you can expect an open-ended question from your interviewer. These questions are designed to be ambiguous and the interviewer expects you to ask any clarifying questions before you jump into any solution. During this interview, they assess you for the following things. What is your approach for the given problem? Did you ask for any clarifying questions before jumping into the code? If you are making any assumptions, make sure you call them out. Do you know the time complexity of the solution you are proposing? Have you considered all the alternate approaches for the given problem? One thing to remember, interviewers don't expect you to know the perfect solution for the given problem. They look at your analytical and problem solving skills. Companies don't want a candidate who knows solutions to all the problems existing out there. They want a candidate who can solve a problem for them. Stage 4. On-site interviews. Congratulations, you made it to the on-site interviews. On-site interviews are typically 4 to 5 round loops which happens in a single day and are conducted in person. One of these interviews will be a system design interview. I'll discuss about the system design interview a little later in the video, but first we'll focus on the coding interviews. During these coding interviews, you can expect something similar to that of a phone screen interview. But instead of the collaboration tool, this time you'll be using a whiteboard. Yes, you'll be using a whiteboard. You have to write the code on the whiteboard. Some companies do give you an option of writing the code on the laptop, but my personal preference would be a whiteboard. Because if I use a whiteboard, I can explain the problem to the interviewer perfectly, and if I want to use or showcase any diagrams that I want to represent, I can freely use the whiteboard space and I can explain the problem to the interviewer effectively. And that's again up to your preference on which way you want to go for. Just like the phone interview, the questions in this interviews are also designed to be ambiguous. All you have to do is you have to speak out your mind. You have to express what you are thinking so that the interviewer can understand your approach to the problem. Again, as I said, these interviews are conducted not to get to a perfect solution from you, but instead they want to know your approach of solving this problem. Things to remember while you do these interviews. Talk through your thought process. This is the most important piece many candidates fail to do. If you don't speak out your mind, the interviewer won't be able to understand what you are thinking, and the interviewer may come to a conclusion that you don't know how to solve the problem. If you speak out, the interviewer can help you solve the problem by giving you the hints of any missing pieces you are struggling with. It's okay to come up with a brute force technique if you can't get to any optimal solution. After all, some approach is better than no approach at all. Be sure to catch any hints that your interviewer may be dropping. Most of the time, if you are not considering a better approach or missing an important piece that is required to solve the problem, the interviewer will try to steer you through that way. Be alert and catch those hints. And finally, don't start writing the code until both you and your interviewer agree upon a solution. This again points back to the first point we have discussed. Speak out loud on your approach. If you speak out loud, the interviewer can involve in the solution, and you both can come to a consensus on what approach you are taking, and he can better follow your code. And finally, system design interviews. System design interview questions are designed to understand your capabilities on solving a business use case. They don't test your coding skills. Instead, they test if you are thinking big enough or not. The questions can be typically like design a parking lot or design an application which solves for a certain business use case. I will make a different video at a later time to discuss in depth about the system design interviews. Stage 5, job offer. If your on-site performance is satisfactory, you will get a job offer. A new recruiter will get in touch with you regarding the compensation packages and the benefits you have with the company, etc. etc. Your recruiter will now connect you with the hiring manager, and you can understand your team and your responsibilities from your manager. These are the 5 stages that are typical for any kind of technical interviews from these big tech giants. I know the process is very exhausting and overwhelming, but it's totally worth the effort. We are almost to the end of the video. Now here are the resources which I have promised you, which can help you crack these interviews. You can also find these links in the description down below. Thank you for watching this video. If you appreciate this video, please hit the like button. And also please subscribe to Sprint Master for more videos like this. If you have any thoughts, please leave us a comment in the comment section below.